It's time to be critical, a manifesto narrated by Brendan Jansen Van Vuuren. If there is one key issue with our society today, it is that the population is afraid to be critical. Whether this is born out of fear of the unknown, the desire to be different, or that most are just apathetic, there is one giant mess in which I believe everyone deserves to be thinking about, and which I can passionately argue against: excess consumerism. For the purpose of fleshing out the problem, we will be looking at both sides of the coin, excess and consumerism. To start off, consumerism was born directly out of capitalism, with the class struggle of the capitalist, aka the rich, and the worker and the consumer, or your everyday man and woman. As John Green defines it, capitalism is an economic and cultural system that relies on innovation and investment to increase wealth. Capitalism has faced much criticism for its use of child labourers, wealth inequality, and the extreme opposites of the class struggle that it ultimately creates and has created since its rise in the Industrial Revolution. As stated by Frederick Jameson, it is easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. Critic and author Mark Fisher coined the term capitalist realism in his book of the same title. In it, he states that capitalist realism is the widespread sense that not only is capitalism the only viable political and economic system, but that it is now impossible to imagine a coherent alternative to it. As you can see, the feeling surrounding consumerism and capitalism is quite a hopeless one, with many feeling it is a system that cannot be broken down or changed. Now, if we take a look at excess, you can see this model of profit at all costs fits perfectly in with capitalism, as it requires the worker to consume as much as possible and as frequently as possible. This has gotten so far out of hand to the extent of the consumer needing credit cards and loans to pay for these items, essentially putting them in debt. In order to break this cycle, there are a few methods as suggested by figures in academia. Eckhart Tolle is of the opinion that excess and addiction are perfectly aligned, with thinking being the worst addiction of them all. In his YouTube video titled "How Do We Break the Habit of Excessive Thinking?", he suggests that people should focus more on being in the present moment, to really be aware of your surroundings and to see what matters. This concept has largely been adapted by the anti-consumerist movement known as minimalism, with the key principle being that it's not just about owning less stuff, it's about only owning items that are of value to you. A large number of popular blogs all advocate this same message, and they preach critical thinking. The most popular of these blogs, titled simply The Minimalists, embrace these ideals and principles, often mocking the concept of "I might need this for later" when looking at things to buy, and instead focusing on, will this add value to my life now? Do I need this for now? Personally, I am sick of seeing these posters and advertisements by brands that encourage you to treat yourself because you're worth it, as this is extremely disingenuous and only feeds into the deceptive practices of profit. In shopping malls, in direct factory outlets, signs use terms like "be a VIP", 70% off limited sale, "don't miss out on this behemoth sale", to push people to make impulse and poor purchases, as if there won't be a new sale next month. It feels inescapable at times, suffocating, and so in the spirit of being critical, I created my own brand posters, mocking the consumer lifestyle and instead asking the public to question whether or not these purchases will be of any use to their life. In listening to these podcasts and blogs, and taking a hard look at what ideas are being pushed onto me, it has made me more critical as a person and helped define what I stand for and what my values are in life. This is exactly what I want for the rest of society. I do not want you to think like me, I just want you to think. Don't just let someone tell you information and take their word for it. Question what you think is too good to be true and what seems suspicious. The importance of this critical thinking is that not only will you build a set of your own values and morals in life, but you may convince others to change their mindset for the better. Better yet, create what you believe in through a number of different mediums like I have, and you might just encourage others to do the same. It is time to be critical.